This should happen at the level of government. As we say, if there is a Rajashray, anything grows, whether it is the music or art or anything. When there is a Rajashray, then it grows nicely. One of my videos were uploaded on YouTube. Today I have got a letter from YouTube that your video has been removed and you have been banned to put any such videos because it contradicts World Health Organization, whatever they have said, and in the country in which you are, the country does not accept whatever you are saying. So it is misinformation that you are spreading. So your video is removed. If you put it again, it will be removed for 7 days, again for 3 weeks, and if you put it again, you will be permanently banned. I got that email today.
The second wave of COVID-19 virus is around the corner, and this is something we all are pretty much aware of. But do we really know what kind of self-care home routine we need to follow in such difficult times? Well, today with us, we have Dr. Akalpita Paranspe, who is one of the top authorities to comment on the overall issue. Dr. Paranspe has worked as a scientist and researcher at Bhabha Atomic Research Center and is working a lot on social fronts these days. Let's welcome Dr. Akalpita Paranspe. Namaste Akalpita ji. Starting with the very first question, I want to know what this new strain of COVID-19 virus is. You know, people around are saying that the second wave of COVID-19 is totally different from the first one. So what it is exactly?
Viruses are strands, either RNA or DNA strands, and they mutate. They mutate because of various reasons. They can mutate because of interventions or because of temperature changes, weather changes. So when they mutate, they can have different effects on human body.
Okay. So what kind
now,
of...
whether it is dangerous or not depends on whether you are able to treat it or not. And since homeopathy and Ayurveda, they are not treating any disease by its name. That is, whether it is COVID-19 variant or it is any other viral disease or it's a bacterial disease, it is not treated by the name of the disease, but it's treated on the basis of symptoms. And Ayurveda treats it on the basis of balance of Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So it really doesn't matter whether the variant is causing more damage or less, since the treatment doesn't depend on the type of variant.
We'll come back to that, ma'am. But what kind of self-care routine, what kind of self-care home routine do you suggest individuals should undertake?
We always tell them that you take Trisutri. Trisutri means we have given 3 formulations. One is a kashaya or kadha or decoction. The main ingredients in that decoction are tulsi and vasa. Now, the importance of vasa as is given in Ayurvedic text is that wherever there is a vasa tree, there will be no untimely death due to the bad condition of our lungs. That is, any lung disease will be prevented by vasa. So that is the main ingredient, and there are more ingredients in that kashaya. And we say that if you take it regularly, then the main complaint which comes as a serious complaint in present epidemic, you will not be affected very severely if you are using this kashaya regularly. Now, second is neem. Neem is known to give oxygen 24 hours a day.
Correct.
And what we have observed is that if you take fresh leaves of neem and administer even to the patients who are on oxygen, then the oxygen level is maintained and therefore the risk factor is reduced. Many times the patients who are on oxygen also come out of it with the use of neem. And third is haldi. We all know that as soon as there is an injury, we run either to the kitchen or to the puja room in order to fetch haldi, because haldi, when applied to either the open wound or in the form of paste when there is an internal injury, it dissolves the clotted blood without really going the blood to our heart or causing heart attack. That means it dissolves completely and eliminates it from our body. So it's a very, very safe way to treat the injuries. In this particular epidemic, the virus is multiplying by entering our red blood cells, and therefore the remains or the debris which lies is of the red blood cells, which is very easily removed by healthy. So this is the Trisutri we say that you take regularly and be safe from this epidemic. And if at all you are affected, that affection will be very, very mild.
Correct. Akalpita ji, you have been firm on saying that people should avoid taking antibiotics when affected with COVID-19 or for matter any disease for that matter. So, what reasoning can be noted behind this?
Number one, that I first say that don't take antipyretic or the painkillers, because in the beginning, in the month of March 2020, we were told that drink warm water and inhale steam, because the virus multiplies, virus incubates itself in the cavities of nose, that is nasal cavities and throat cavities.
Correct.
Now, when it has entered the system for multiplying itself in our cells, there the steam doesn't reach, or the temperature of the water which you are taking inside also doesn't reach the cells. Mm-hmm. So at that point of time, our immune system raises the temperature, because the cover of this virus, which is protein layer, and those proteins are self-assembled around the virus, and they have hydrogen bonded, which are, these bonds are very weak. So the moment temperature raises, these bonds are, virus comes out of its coverage, and then it is totally ineffective. So temperature, immune system raises in order to eradicate the virus. We reduce the temperature immediately as soon as there is a fever, and that causes background increase of virus. So after 7-8 days, when the virus multiplies to its billions of copies and the symptoms starts appearing because of the dead cells, then only people start saying that, oh, I didn't have any complaint, but suddenly I started having breathing difficulty or other difficulties. And the main culprit in that is suppressing the temperature and asking the immune system to be quiet. You don't have any role in this. We know how to treat ourselves. Mm-hmm. So taking antibiotics and painkillers sometimes, which also cause reduction in temperature, is very dangerous in this epidemic or in any epidemic where viral diseases are there. Now, second is about antibiotics, which you asked me just now. Mm-hmm. Antibiotics are for killing bacteria. They have absolutely no role in the treatment of viral diseases. Mm-hmm. But right from the beginning, doctors are even patients, they themselves start taking antibiotics. We have 10 to the power of 13 bacteria in our body. Whatever we bite and whatever gets digested by our juices like acid and bile, after that, these bacteria are reducing it to very, very small biochemicals which go into our bloodstream and provide nutrition to all our system, all the vital organs, right from brain up to liver, spleen, and so many glands in the system. So when the bacteria are reduced or they change because they become resistant to antibiotics, then our body starts getting deficient in many nutrients. And in severe cases, it may even lead to multiple organ failure. So giving antibiotics is quite contraindicated. Forget about the beginning. When the person starts having a lot of cell membrane, fibrosis, let us say, there is falling of so many dead cells inside the lungs. Mm-hmm. Then what is it that is going to remove this fibrosis, that will remove this debris?
Correct.
If it is only bacteria which reduce organic material lying anywhere in the body, which causes hindrance to the functioning of the system. Mm-hmm. When these bacteria start multiplying in the lungs, then it is called pneumonia or bronchitis, and the antibiotics are given to kill. Mm-hmm. Once you kill this bacteria, the debris, there is nothing which can remove the debris, and therefore it remains, it piles up there in the lungs. On that we give oxygen or we give pressurized oxygen. So you can imagine what all can happen or what all we are observing. Correct. So antibiotics are quite bad in these conditions What we really have to do is to help the system to get out the whatever are the byproducts, that is cough, either through the our throat, I mean through our lungs when it comes out, or it should go out from the blood circulation system through urine and be disposed of. So there are medicines in Ayurveda and homeopathy where you can give something to clean the blood and make it toxin free.
Correct.
Which doesn't happen in case of modern medicine. If it doesn't happen with, for example.
Ma'am, how do you see the vaccine rollout, which is currently ongoing? Do you really think that vaccines are coming to rescue the society?
If suppose you are observing the rules, that is, first of all, you take these preventives which we have proposed.
Mm-hmm.
Your immune system is strong, let us say, which doesn't build up in 1 day or 2 days. It is there right from the birth and up to now, whatever you have built up. So if you are helping the immune system by not taking antibiotics, then very few people will end up with severity.
Correct.
So most of the people who get rid of the virus, they will be anyway immune to this virus, and not only they'll be immune permanently. As we have seen it in earlier epidemics, when there used to be chicken pox or measles. And once a child got measles or chicken pox, for the whole life, child never got it again. Whereas now you can see that after giving virus also, people are getting viral infections. Some people are even landing up in the hospitals. There are people who are getting, due to variants, chicken pox. I mean, they are calling me and telling that after taking the vaccine, we have got chicken pox. There is no epidemic of chicken pox running around. So what is happening, we don't know. So why give why give vaccine when vaccine is not giving you any permanent protection against a disease, when the disease by itself gives you a protection? That is my question. And there are many cases of vaccine injuries. In Washington, there is a vaccine injury court, and compensation in millions of dollars is given by the state because the vaccine companies are given immunity. The question is, if the vaccines are so safe, then why there is a court for vaccine injury compensations? So, realizing that there are injuries due to vaccines, and then still we are insisting, we are making it compulsory to the people, we are asking them to leave the jobs if they are not taking vaccines. So this appears to be very disastrous and absurd. More than that, I find that the people who are now getting infected after taking vaccines, they are also spreading the disease as much as the original corona was spreading. And that they don't know what it is and how many people are taking vaccine and how many people are really giving that infection to so many others. So we are causing multiple causes for increase in the variants and in the spread of this disease. So you can see that we have already reached this number, which was the peak in September, which is there today. So what peak value is going to be, you can't really guess. It will be enormous.
So you think vaccines is not the solution?
It is not a solution at all. Getting immunity is a solution. And that immunity you get automatically when you get infected. When there was a wave, first wave, how many percentage of people were getting infected and how many people were really dying? If you find out, then you will realize that even after getting
yeah, it's totally similar. And this sounds a bit risky. So how do you see the modern medicine progressing in this case? Of course, we know the answer, but what would you suggest? Allopathy, homeopathy or Ayurveda in case of COVID-19?
Number one, allopathy has no cure for anything. Forget about COVID-19. If you go to Google and ask the Google Guru, even the World Health Organization says that there is no, so far there is no remedy for coronavirus. If no remedy, what are we giving? We don't know what we are giving. Since in India, we really have an alternative. We can rely upon Ayurveda and homeopathy because they don't depend on the name of the disease and they are not going to give randomly chosen remedies like remedy for malaria, remedy for AIDS or anything like that. You know, they are going by a different way of diagnosing, that is by Vata Pitta Kapha or by taking a club of symptoms. So their methodology is very different. Now, if you ask me, the question of taking allopathy as a treatment is out of question because it doesn't have a treatment. Whatever you are giving are poisons for bacteria or poisons for our system. I don't call them medicines. When you come to homeopathy and Ayurveda, Ayurveda has a very strong base as far as giving health to the people because it has a concept of dinacharya, rutucharya, dietary things, whatever we are observing. And if that is followed, and along with that, if homeopathic medicines are taken, remember that the Ayurvedic medicines are material doses, whereas homeopathic medicines are sukshma, that is, they are very, very minute doses which can, being very, very small, they are capable of entering anywhere in the body. They are capable of going to the cellular level. They are capable of going to the brain without being hindered by blood-brain barriers. Therefore, they should play a major role in treating this disease.
So, why do you see the lower acceptance for homeopathy and Ayurvedic way of treatment, the Indian way of treatment in the society?
See, what the present so-called modern medicine has done is it has put equations. An MR comes and tells the doctor that if you have typhoid, give this. If you have blood pressure, give this medicine. If you have diabetes, give this medicine. Homeopathy and Ayurveda cannot have such equations. So practicing people have to be very competent.
Yeah. It all depends upon the patient.
How to diagnose and how to treat. Yeah.
Correct.
So it will depend on the competence of the people who are practicing. Unfortunately, it so happens that most of them, they think that when the patient comes to them, the patient has to be given quick relief. So they use allopathic medicines. And probably, I'm not too sure, but there are some homeopaths who can treat acute cases. But in most of the cases, acute cases, the homeopathic doctors and Ayurvedic Vaidyas are not able to treat. They are not able to give satisfaction to the common public. That is the main thing. So that is why I am also thinking of creating a parallel health system, where in our country, above the age of 45, when the children are grown up and people have enough time to do some other studies and they have inclination towards homeopathy and Ayurveda, I would say that they should learn and they should come forward at least to their family, to their extended family, and to nearby people, a good healthcare service without any expectations because they have their own money and they don't have to depend upon it. If our system of lakhs of doctors, homeopathic and Ayurvedic, are coming out, and in spite of that, why are we not able to give the justice? So this is a question which needs to be answered, that people who are trained are not able to give relief, quick relief to people in acute cases. And I give a challenge that in acute cases, homeopathic medicines act much faster than the allopathic medicine. In this particular case, if you keep a track of symptoms for, let's say, 24 hours. In most of the cases, the medicine, if it is chosen correctly, within next 24 hours, the patient starts feeling all right. Whether it is COVID, it is typhoid, it is malaria, anything. So it all depends on the competence of the physician who is able to reach the proper medicine.
Correct. Coming to the main question, Akalpita ji, what self-care or home remedies do you suggest for people to follow in such cases?
As I have said right in the beginning, that we give Trisutri, we give a kashaya, that is decoction made of tulsi and vasa. Tulsi also, we know that it's very good for such complaints, and in addition that is also has a component of oxygen which it gives 24 hours. Vasa is very important because it not only gives protection to the lungs, it's also good wherever there is a bleeding. So that covers symptoms specific for the present epidemic. I don't take the name because there is an objection if you take the name of the disease. And second is neem, which has been used for thousands of years. Let us say when there are epidemics, people are asked to take the leaves and spread them over the bed. if there is a scratching, take the leaves and then scratch with that. So it has been used for ages, and it gives protection in the epidemics. And third is haldi, which in this particular case, because of its role to remove the blood clots and to remove the, let us say, dead blood cells without really causing any problem like in the heart, as we know, because conventionally we have been using without finding any heart failures, let us say, when the haldi is applied to external injuries. So I would say that these are the things which should be taken for preventing the epidemic attack on anybody. And if at all the attack comes, it will be much, much milder than without taking these preventives.
Yeah.
I don't call them as immuno boosters. They are preventives.
Correct. How do you see government playing role in all this situation?
I would be very happy if the government realizes now, because I find that I got a leaflet that Dinanath Mangeshkar in Pune has started a separate cell for those who want to opt for homeopathic treatment. So if government takes this step, then it will be really good. I have also heard about some other hospitals coming forward and offering homeopathic treatment. This should happen at the level of government. As we say, if there is a Rajashray, anything grows, whether it is the music or art or anything. When there is a Rajashray, then it grows nicely. So if government takes steps and accepts that homeopathy and Ayurveda, for those who want to opt for it, should be able to take it. Because right from the beginning, it has been said by the government, whether it is central or state, that you can give it as immunity boosters, but you should not use this term as a cure for COVID. And I will tell you the present situation today, that one of my videos were uploaded on YouTube. Today I have got a letter from YouTube that your video has been removed and you have been banned to put any such videos because it contradicts World Health Organization, whatever they have said, and in the country in which you are, the country does not accept whatever you are saying. So it is misinformation that you are spreading. So your video is removed. If you put it again, it will be removed for 7 days, again for 3 weeks. And if you put it again, you will be permanently banned. I got that email today.
Okay. This is sad.
So unless government forward and say that in our country, these are the system of medicines which are allowed to be used, then the situation will be different. If nobody realizes what havoc allopathic medicines are causing, then God save us.
Social media is creating havoc, Kalpita ji. Anyway, thank you for joining with us today. And I'm sure the insights shared by you will be useful for the viewers and listeners amid the horrifying second wave of COVID-19 virus. Thank you, Kalpita ji.